You know, ending tuberculosis has become really challenging for Nigeria when it comes to attacking it headlong. So this is a welcome idea to
absolutely
get people
employing
to
about
get
12,000.
12,000.
Yes,
you know,
it's
to get
important.
those missing links, the missing cases, as the case may be, is really
absolutely,
nice.
and what then is done with the findings is also important.
It's a great one. Moving ahead now, as the world marks World Population Day, the United Nations Population Fund says the adoption of the landmark program of action at the 1994 Cairo Conference on Population and Development is one of the most significant decisions ever made.
This has transformed the way countries address issues surrounding population and sustainable development.
It has been 25 years since the adoption of the landmark program of action, which set the stage for addressing issues relating to health and the well-being of women. This gathering for members of the diplomatic community and donor partners is simply to recommit Nigeria's stand on the universal access to sexual and reproductive health and rights, which has become the cornerstone of a redesigned population program all over the world.
At the conference, the world agreed that population is not just about counting people, but about making people count. ICPD delegates reach a consensus that equality and empowerment of women is a global priority.
We must bear in mind the commitments that hold us accountable on the 1994 ICPD and Program of Action with the mandate of improving relationship between population, development, individual well-being, and the environment.
Nigeria approximately accounts for 58,000 maternal deaths yearly, according to the World Health Organization, which translates to a 19% global rate. This Population and Development Growth Conference hopes to ensure that a world is created where no woman dies during childbirth and a world where every woman is empowered to make a decision.
In Nigeria, you may wish to know, women's sexual and reproductive autonomy is 51%. As gloomy as most statistics in the report may seem, they represent massive progress in the long history of reproductive health and rights globally.
Today, reproductive choices are a reality for women in developing countries. Millions now have control over their own fertility. Total fertility rate is 2.5 worldwide, down from 5. Today's world population is 7.7 billion. It was 7.1 in 2012. Worldwide, more than half of married women are using modern contraception.
The push for this gathering is to ensure it provides couples and individuals, especially women, the basic right to decide freely and responsibly the number and spacing of their children and to have the information, education, and the means to do so safely and effectively. Kemi Balogun, TVC News, Abuja.
I have joining me Dr. Omoshen Omolasho, head the United Nations Population Fund, Lagos Liaison Office. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's start from the aspect of how Nigeria has fared when it comes to health and sexual and reproductive rights for women.
Yeah. Well, we have come a long way. We see that some years back, you know, the fertility rate for women used to hover around maybe between 6 and 7 children per woman. But today, we've moved down to about between 5 and 6, which is a little progress, but some progress anyway. Years back, we used to have a mortality rate amongst our women, our pregnant women, above 800. But today, we have moved to between 500 and 600 deaths per 100,000 women. So we've made some progress. The contraceptive rate used to be less than 10%. Today we have moved to about between 16–17%.
All right.
So really, we've made some progress.
Now, then why if we have made some progress, why are we revisiting the ICPD program of action that was established 25 years ago?
Well, though we've made progress, we have not made enough progress. We're not able to meet the MDGs, if you recall, and now we have the SDGs. We need to accelerate action. We have realized that our women, our girls, can no longer wait. They have been more or less on the balance for quite a long time. There are so many people who are left behind in this process. So we need to ask ourselves, what is it that we are not doing? What more do we need to do so that we can reach those that have been left behind and make sure that population really works for us and not that we're just counting numbers.
And the ICBT agreement or of action would accelerate this. And what are we not doing really?
Yes. Incidentally, Nigeria was one of the countries that committed to the program of action in 1994, way back in Brazil. Unfortunately, the investment that the government was supposed to put into getting this realized was not sufficient. Yeah. So we need now to see how we can commit to investing more on child survival, because the reason why people have many children in any case is because they are not sure they're going to survive. So we need to invest more on child survival. We need to send more girls to school. Let's see if we can keep them in school, train them to be useful. Because we know that we have better child survival with an educated girl, an educated woman. If they stay in school, an extra year in school, it's about 10% increase in their salaries and income. If they stay in school, they are likely to delay marriage, and therefore we are likely to also reduce our population.
But you understand that in this part of the world that there are aspects of religious and also, well, tribal sentiments when it comes to these issues.
I don't believe there's any religion that says that you should have children irresponsibly. I believe that every religion wants you to take care of your children, train them, make sure that they are well placed in life, make sure that all the necessities of life are provided. I don't think there's any religion that will say, have as many children as possible. I am a Christian. The Bible says that if there's any man that is not able to take care of his family, he's worse than an unbeliever. And I don't think Islam will say, have children and just throw them out there without taking care of them. So I believe that we should be educated to have the information we need to have the right number of children we need.
Very important.
Yes, thank you.
Well, let me ask, the world population now is about 7.7 billion from the estimation and all of that. China, India, and then, you know, breakdown and so on. Is the world overpopulated already?
Well, that is difficult to say.
Okay.
But then we are looking at the trajectory. If we continue at this rate, we are going to have serious issues. Already for Nigeria, we know that we are around about 200 million. And we know that if we continue at the rate at which we're going, by 2050, probably will be one of, probably the third most populated country in the world.
After China and India.
Yes. Now, the issue of population really has to do with how do we manage the population. If the resources that we have, both as governments and individuals, does not support our needs, then we will have a problem. But if we begin to do something, and you know, policymakers are excited now that a lot of countries, especially in the developing world, have reached a stage where they can actually, you know, gain from the population.
All right. When you talk about the issue of if we have to start planning or we have to start working towards, you know, making the best out of it, we know that the statistics right now from the GDP growth between 1–2%, you know, thereabout, and a little above 2%, the projections, and then the population growth is between 2.7 and 3% annually. So, which means that the population is growing like that, and the economy is growing this way.
Yeah.
We already have a challenge from that. But from where we stand right now, we're already where we are. If the government has to start taking that step, what should it be? Where should they start from?
Well, let's talk about the population structure. Now, the population structure simply means what is the percentage of the age groups, you know, that we have. Presently in Nigeria, those who are not working, say children below the age of 15, are about 40–41%. The elderly that are also not working, well, it's a smaller percentage. The working population, what is the gross domestic product? How much do we really bring in? Those that are in the working class, how many of them are working? Those that are working, what is the quality of work that they are doing? So we find a situation whereby the working population is not able to sufficiently support the dependent population. The ratio presently, roughly about 1:1. In developed economies, it's about 1:3. That means those that are not working are in the ratio of 1 to 3 working adults. Now, what that means is that at the end of the day, the quality of life is compromised. We are not able to reach, you know, that stage where we can say we can support ourselves. And, you know, population does not grow by arithmetic. It grows by geometry. A woman has 5 children. The 5 children gets married, they have, you know,
10, 15.
15, 25.
And it goes on and on.
And it goes on like that. So except we begin to change that structure of the population.
How about the issue of orientation? We have issues of ethnicity on one hand, impact of that, the way people have this bond to the fact that ancestors are, you know, relatives, and then religion on the other hand, where people feel that the fulfillment and satisfaction in life is to have, you know, get married and have children and all of that. How are these, you know, variables contributing or compounding the situation?
Well, I think experience is the best teacher. Going by the Nigeria of today, we do know that if you continue to think that children is your wealth, then I think you are still in the olden days. We do know that we need to take care of our families. We do know that we need basic things in life, education, good health, you know, and we all need money to do this. So what amount of, what is your output in terms of the salary you earn or the work you do to take care of all these issues? That's why today we are saying, let's make sure that the children survive more so that we don't have reason, you know, to have more children. Let's see that girls go to school. Let's see that family planning commodities are made readily available, and people understand the benefits of using family planning.
Okay.